let's dive right in, shall we? Recording on, helmets on, seatbelt buckled, let's go. Welcome everybody to today's master class, Info Biz Blueprint, how to build a 5-figure info biz in 60 days. Even if you don't know what I'm talking about, even if you've never made a dime online, even if you accidentally stumbled across this webinar and don't even know who I am going to show you how to make good on that. I'm going to shut off the fan here because I know it sometimes makes a dull hiss in the back, so I'll just sweat. You all be comfortable. I'm uncomfortable, but that's okay. No, that's not true. I'm very comfortable. Okay, so welcome everybody to today's master class, our hastily rescheduled class after the unfortunate incident last Thursday when we had 500 people on. We reached our limit, and 20 minutes in, as many of you know, GoToWebinar, the platform we're using to do this live stream or live webinar, crashed. And it took a little time for them to come back up. And of course, if you're on, you got bumped off, as did I. And if you tried to get right back on, you would have found you were unable to. My sincerest apologies for that. This is the makeup. We do have some people on that were not on Thursday's class. I am going to try to run through the beginning part excuse me, pretty quickly as a courtesy to those who've already heard that bit, but in the interest of continuity and for those that weren't here on Thursday, we will go through those slides. We'll just do it at a rapid clip. So hang on, everybody, and let's get going. How to get the most from today's training? Well, be here. Focus. I promise you, we're going to go through a lot of information, a lot of ideas, a lot of how-tos. Do yourself a favor. Shut off your phone, get off Facebook, close your email, close the door, give yourself a chance to absorb the information because there's a lot of it, and I promise it will be worth doing that. Sharon, make sure you turn your recorder on. Thank you, Sharon. I've made that mistake before. I will double check. Yes, it's on. Okay, my promises to you today. Number one, I'm going to show you precisely, specifically, exactly 2 methods you can take with you when you leave this class, understand them well enough to actually implement them and earn money with them. And in fact, surprise, surprise, we're actually going to do a third, which I hadn't been including in this class, but I am going to include, which will blow your mind. So I'm going to show you 3 ways you can take the information we give you, leave here, and make some money. Not just some money. You could actually build an entire livelihood on any of these methods. Number 2, you will understand how to take that information and do it yourself. Turn it into a viable, lucrative, long-term, reliably predictable income-generating business. Wow, that was a mouthful. But I promise you, the information we're going to go over, you will be able to take that and nothing else and turn that into a real income-generating business. Number 3, I'm going to give you a gift that you'll actually feel is worth getting. I know a lot of us have been on these kinds of deals before, and that's one of the come-ons, you know, give me an hour or 2 of your time and I'll give you a gift, and the gift is generally not worth the time devoted to get it. In this case, it actually will be. It is something you will find useful, worthwhile, valuable, and appreciate getting. Okay, how are we going to fulfill those promises? And again, please excuse the rapid-fire pace of this first little bit of the webinar, but I know a lot of you have sat through this already, so I'm going to try to abbreviate and go quickly. Fulfilling those promises, we're going to break the rules. What do I mean by that? As many of you know who've been on plenty of these deals before, they tend to follow a pretty predictable, well-worn pattern of patter. Guy goes through his background, his childhood, how he was brought up, his relatives, his life tragedies, and then shows you a picture of him and his family on vacation in Maui and the Lamborghinis in the driveway. We're not going to do that because really, who cares? Right? What bearing does that have on your valuable time today and how you can take that and make good on those promises of turning it into an income? None, right? So we're going to skip right past that. No Lamborghinis today. Also, typically, these things tend to offer you a piece of the puzzle, the full part of which you have to pay to get, the offer at the end. And while we do have an offer on the end, I promise you that I'm going to give you everything you need to not have to buy anything and take this info and run with it. I am not going to withhold any info. Excuse me. Okay, real quick. My pet peeves, I'm betting some or all are your pet peeves too. BS. People who tell me things that aren't so, tell me things that I already know, talk a good game and have never actually done what they're talking about. The whole say anything school of marketing, which seems to be prevalent in the internet marketing industry. Can't stand it. I bet you can't either. Time wasters. I hate time wasters. If I respect you enough to give you my time, I expect that respect in return. Don't waste it. I will try not to waste your time. People who treat me like I'm stupid. Who doesn't get this a lot? People who, that's part of that say anything school of marketing. I'm no dummy. I bet you're not either. So don't tell me things that I know aren't so. I won't tell you things that you know aren't so, and I won't treat you like you're stupid. And salespeople. Who likes salespeople? Huh. I'm a salesperson. But, I'm a different kind of salesperson. I hope. You tell me at the end whether you think that's so. It's not so much salespeople. It's being sold to. Someone trying to talk me into something that doesn't pass the smell test. So we're not going to do that. Okay, rushing right along. Real basic background to put things into context. I am a full-time internet marketer. This is what I do for a living. It's not my part-time gig. It's not my hobby. This is my day job, although I don't necessarily do it during the day, but this is how I pay my bills. It's what I've done full-time for well more than 15 years. In doing so, I've generated millions of dollars in revenue for myself and others. I'm not saying I've generated millions of dollars for me, but through my company, the partnerships I've had, we have absolutely generated millions of dollars of revenue for ourselves and partners. Of that last 15 or 20 years, the last 8 years have been spent in part working with and training hundreds and hundreds of internet marketers. In fact, many of you on this call, as per the earlier question, if you caught it before we started about 100K Blueprint, we had a paid internet marketing membership and forum with over 2,200 people over the course of 3.5 years. So I got a chance to see every aspect of getting into internet marketing. How people started, where they ran into problems, how they got through those problems, what allowed people to be successful, and what hindered that success. So I have a pretty good idea of what it takes to succeed and what the most common reasons we don't succeed are. Which brings me to the point of all of this, right? At some point, you bought into the idea of the internet marketing dream, that it's possible to earn a living or maybe supplement your income or retire, something, just using the internet, right? Achieve that lifestyle freedom of being able to get by without needing a 9-to-5 job, without having to report to anybody, without having to live in a particular place, right? The internet marketing dream. A lot of us, having bought into that dream, haven't yet made a serious effort to make it happen. That's one of the reasons why we're here, hopefully to learn how to do that. Maybe we didn't think we had the time, didn't think we knew how to do it, but still had that dream that we hope to pursue of being able to earn an income online. Some of us have actually done some of these things. Maybe we've dipped our toe in one of the various business models, blogging or affiliate marketing or creating a product, etc. In fact, let me ask if I can in the question box, who here has tried to and or managed to make some money online? Just type a yes if you've actually went ahead and made the effort to do something, whether it was successful or not. Some yes, partly, made a little, very, very common scenario. We got that bug, bought into that dream. Maybe we tried something. A lot of those things are what I call loophole marketing. You know, somebody showed us how we could game the search engines, excuse me, or some other loophole that could earn some money, but it wasn't sustainable, it wasn't long-term, and it probably wasn't something we'd be real happy telling our moms or our kids, you know, what mommy or daddy did for a living. If that's you, you're in the right place, because I'm going to show you how you can turn that internet lifestyle dream into reality. And I mean that. You know, I hear myself saying this, and it sounds a lot like all those things I mentioned I hate, except this time it's true. And again, bear with me and you be the judge, and it won't take you long to figure it out. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to hand you the keys to the kingdom, the ability to do that. And I see one of the answers, work hard, no money. That happens a lot, and it's unfortunate. Worse than that is people who have paid money to learn something, to work hard and make no money. And that's that Say Anything School of Marketing, people offering you a course in how to do something they never actually did themselves and couldn't because it doesn't actually work, etc. Okay, I have the antidote for all that. So stick around. Along with life-changing info. You know, if somebody said that to me, I'm going to give you, this is going to be life-changing. I might leave. It's an insult. It's that treat me like I'm stupid. There's nothing you're possibly going to tell me that's going to be life-changing. I'm going to make a bet with you. I have something life-changing for you. By the time we reach the end, you tell me whether what we went over, in particular, towards the very end, is life-changing. What do I mean by life-changing? I mean that you will have the confidence and the means to make good on that internet marketing dream, that you'll be able to live here, life-changing, change your life. You'll have the tools, the opportunity, the confidence that you actually can earn enough money to quit your job, retire, supplement your income, whatever the particulars of your version of what that internet lifestyle dream means. I'm going to hand that to you, and it's going to be life-changing. Okay, so stick around. Might even want to take notes. So what are we going to go over specifically? I'm going to show you how and why a successful infobiz works, and by infobiz I mean information products business. Show you how and why it works, and the specific things you can take with you to make yourself an extra 5K a month, 10K a month, 20K a month. None of that is unrealistic. To do that, let me give you some very brief context, and we're getting close to where we lost everybody last week, so cross your fingers, that won't happen now. Real quick, my background, I got online as soon as there was such thing as online, before the internet was invented, truly. in the days of CompuServe and Prodigy and America Online and The Source and modems and bulletin board systems. And being an entrepreneurial sort of guy, I saw it through the lens of an opportunity to make money, a way to get to people that nobody else was doing yet. No competition. I had it almost the space to myself. So I started buying stuff wholesale, offering it online at a discount, but still making a profit, and managed to leverage that to make money. I grew up in New York, in Manhattan. There's an area called the Wholesale District, where as long as you have a tax ID certificate, which you get in the U.S. when you open a business, you could drive down there. It's hundreds of importers and exporters and wholesalers. Take your tax ID certificate, some cash, and fill your trunk with stuff at wholesale, which I would do, bring it back home, post some listings on these online services, and make money. And it actually worked. But, you know, it was tough. There was not the fraction of people online that there is today. There weren't standards. You didn't have video, hardly had pictures, etc. But I knew there was opportunity, and then along came eBay. And this is right where we crashed last week. Cross your fingers. Keep them crossed. eBay, to me, was the natural evolution of where this whole online making money online thing was going. It kind of formalized and standardized a marketplace where you could buy stuff wholesale, list it, sell it at a discount, and still make money, or not even buy it wholesale. You could make stuff, you could do anything you wanted and sell it on eBay, and it worked, right? But eBay and e-commerce in general, the business model of selling physical products online, has some real caveats to it. Among them is inventory. You have to lay out the money to buy the stuff that you are going to sell, right? So you need money to make money, but in this case, literally, you have to purchase in advance the stuff you're going to make money with. There is a business model that revolves around drop shipping, but it doesn't work very well, and it's got other issues. But along with inventory, there's shipping and receiving. You had to pack up and print a shipping label and haul down to the post office each and every item that you sold, and had to service customers with returns and complaints, and that if you've been on eBay, you recognize that dreaded question from buyer or question to seller when you got on your account, and people harassing you and asking all kinds of questions, and here you are trying to make very little money on some doodad, and they make it very difficult. Anyway, it was not the internet marketing dream that I had in mind. And the worst part of it is that the money you made was not scalable. It was a 1-to-1 ratio. You had to do work for each and every new sale, even if that was just packing something up, labeling it, laying the money out, and taking it to the post office, right? But I worked at it, and then something happened that was life-changing for me, literally. I bought a report on eBay. There was a community on eBay at this time of sellers, like a forum on eBay where sellers could talk and gripe and trade information and share tips and secrets and stuff like that. And I was active in that community because I was trying hard to make a go of it. And I saw a guy offering a report on how to do better on eBay. If you were a seller, he was a long-time seller, and basically he had put together some hints and tips and tricks that he had figured out and some shortcuts, and put it into a report and offered it for sale to other eBay sellers. I bought it, and it changed my world. Not so much that it showed me how to do eBay better, which it did, but what I understood almost immediately after buying it was that this guy was selling information, and that beat the heck out of selling physical goods, right? Selling information trumps selling physical products because all of a sudden those limitations and those caveats, such as having to lay out money for inventory, having to pack, label, and ship, etc., etc. A digital product you produce once and can sell over and over again, and there's no shipping involved, right? It's a download. It hit me, here was the answer that I was looking for. Now if I could only figure out how to make that work. And by the way, it's worth pointing out, information publishing is what the internet was built for. It's why it was created. It's what it was created to do, to publish and disseminate information. And information publishing, information products, are a $50 billion plus industry. It's enormous. There are so many information products being sold across every conceivable category, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so a lot of you know this already. This was my epiphany, and so what I did was set out to figure out how to do the info products business well, how to leverage that, get out of the e-commerce thing, eBay, physical products, and finally, hopefully, achieve my internet lifestyle dream. I set about trying to figure out what would actually sell, how to create products once I knew what would sell, and then how to actually get them sold. And I learned some things in the process. It took me some years, but I learned some things. Here's what I learned. Distilled down to a very simple, basic business model and proposition. It's a really simple business. Number one, identify needs that people have, questions, needs, problems, right? Create products that address those needs, put together the information that answers the question, solves the problem, fulfills the need, and then get that in front of the people who have those needs. That's it, right? That's the info products business. So having figured that out, I then set about doing that, and I'm going to show you exactly how, and I figured it out. I cracked the code. Not a hard code to crack, but crack it I did. Since then, I've created directly or partnered on well over 100 info products, probably closer to 150. And as I say, I cracked the code. In, excuse me, in 2011, I got ClickBank's Elite Platinum Author designation. If you're not familiar with ClickBank, most of you are. They are the largest platform in the world for selling and distributing digital products. In order to get platinum status, which they give to 0.001% of their sellers, you have to sell a ton of products. But not only do you have to sell a ton of info products, they have to be really good, because part of the calculation ClickBank uses as to whether to grant you platinum status is you have to have a teeny return rate and a teeny support ticket rate, right? So not only do you have to sell a lot, but they have to be good enough that people don't ask for their money back or complain, right? So it took a while, figured it out. 2011, got platinum status, got it again in 2012, got it again in 2013, got it again in 2014, got it again in 2015. I'll probably get it again this year. You know, once you understand what to do and how to do it, it's really just a lather, rinse, repeat process. That's the beauty of this whole internet dream. You know, technology that gives you unimaginable reach and the ability to automate or outsource so that you could scale it up to meet that reach. And we're going to look at exactly how to do that. Okay, so how do you get there? Now we get into some of the fun stuff. I'm going to tell you exactly how to get there. Consider this, right? Free your mind for a moment. I want you to imagine something. What if you had a crystal ball, right? Just hypothetically, and every time you rubbed it, it would tell you what a large group of people would be willing to pay to know, right? crystal ball, every time you rub it, kind of like a genie, you know, what would people be willing to pay me to know? And every time you rubbed it, it gave you another answer. And it was 100% accurate, such that you knew with complete confidence that what it told you was legit. People would be willing to pay for what it said. Right? And along with that crystal ball, you had a magic box. After you rubbed the crystal ball, you reached into the magic box, and inside was the product built to what the crystal ball said. Right? So think of it. You rub the crystal ball, it tells you, okay, here's something that a lot of people will be willing to pay to know. And you reach into the box, and out pops the information product that is that thing that people are willing to pay to know. Right? You're in business. You just keep rubbing the crystal ball, pulling out the product, sell it, sell it, sell it. Right? You can't lose. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball or a magic box, but I do have the tools that do the exact same thing. And I'm going to show you what they are and how to use them. Some of them you may be familiar with, some of them definitely not. Now, it's important. Keep this in mind. We've distilled this business down to 3 simple things. Identifying needs, right? Informational needs, questions, burning questions, urgent problems, pressing needs. Identify those needs, develop the information that addresses those needs, and by the way, that's the crystal ball and the magic box, and then simply get in front of the people with those needs and show them what you got. In theory, it should work, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, in practice, it works. And that's what a successful information business does. We brainstorm and develop the crystal ball part. We turn that into a product, that's the magic box part, and generate sales. And do that over and over and over again. Now I'm going to show you how you can do that. The process is just that same business model. We come up with great ideas and validate them. I say validate them. We can not only know in advance what people will be willing to pay for, but we can validate it to make sure we don't go through time or resources or expense doing something that we aren't 100% sure of. Then we develop that content, and we get it in front of the people with those interests. And notice I said develop the content, not write the content. Okay, let's move forward. We say info products, information products, just to get everybody on the same page and clarify our terms. When we say information products, we're talking about how-tos and guides and tutorials and courses. We're talking nonfiction stuff, right? Generally, information that helps somebody do something, get rid of something, understand something, etc. A lot of different formats. That information can be in the form of an ebook or a report. It could be a podcast. It could be a video. It could be many of those things at once. They could be single standalone products or multi-part, such as a subscription or a membership, right? To walk you through how you can do this like magic, let's consider what we refer to as the short report. That's kind of the smallest basic information product unit, right? What is a short report? A short report is typically text, right? A PDF that you download, usually somewhere between 10 and 40 or 50 pages, and it typically sells between $5 and $25. But the things we do to come up with and produce a short report are the same, whether it's a short report or a video series or a course, right? It's the same process, same tools, etc. So I'm going to walk you through the process. We come up with the idea and validate it, develop the content, make it available for sale. Right? we start with brainstorm. Right? Where do we come up with the idea? What's that crystal ball thing? Well, I don't have any ideas, or I have an idea, I don't know if it'll work, or I have one idea and then what? Right? This is the basis on which we're able to develop these products. So what makes a good information product? Very simple. Good info product either solves an urgent problem, answers a burning question, or addresses a pressing need. Right? Those are the things that people will pay to know. Excuse me. So how do you come up with those? Where's that crystal ball? A few ways we can do it, and we can automate that process. Right? One of the best ways to come up with ideas that we know will work is to look for what people are already spending money on and what they're already asking for. And I'm going to show you exactly how we do that. And of course, we can ask people. I'm going to show you how we do that too. In fact, in just a few minutes, I'm going to walk you through some actual live instances so you can see this in action. Right? Okay, how do we come up with ideas? That crystal ball, how do we know for sure? We can go where people are already buying things. Right? What information are they already buying? Guess what? Go to Amazon. Go to books, click on bestsellers, and look at the nonfiction categories. Those are all information products that people are paying for. And we can drill down to incredible detail about what people are willing to pay for. What are their issues? What do they want to know so much they're willing to pay money for? These are some brainstorming resources. Magazines.com. They are the largest online seller of magazine subscriptions. Guess what? To produce a glossy magazine costs anywhere from a few $100,000 to a few million. You can be sure that a glossy magazine is not produced unless that company is 100% rock solid sure people want that information and are willing to pay for it. So almost anything you see on magazines.com says, here's something people are willing to pay for. And in fact, you can drill down, find a magazine in a niche or market segment, open up the table of contents, and almost every regular column or article heading is the basis of an information product that we know in advance will sell because it's already been tested and proven. ClickBank, I mentioned, largest reseller of digital products. They have a marketplace where you can browse through tens of thousands of already done info products, and you can sort them by which ones have sold the most, which essentially tells you here's what people are willing to pay for. Dummies, right? SATs for dummies, how to write a resume for dummies, how to get promoted for dummies, how to lose weight for, et cetera, right? To make it to a dummies book, there has to be huge demand. Not only does that give you ideas about what people are willing to pay for, you can open up any one of those. And by the way, Amazon let you look at the first few pages of all the books they have for sale. Go to the dummies section on Amazon, pick one out, and click on the See Inside button, and you can get to the table of contents. The table of contents in a X for Dummies book is essentially a listing of known viable info product ideas. And don't worry, I'm going to tell you how you can actually produce these and not have to worry about competing with dummies.com or a magazine subscription. Okay, another way we can rub that crystal ball, one of the best. Where are people saying what they're willing to pay to answer, right? Google. You can type into Google list of X questions, list of X problems. If you were to Google list of top golf problems, you'll see lists that show, for instance, 10 biggest problems of new golfers, 10 biggest problems for X about golf or X about any subject. Right? Google will tell you what the most urgent, pressing, burning needs people have simply by asking it. And by the way, we all know Google auto-suggest, right? When you start typing a search in, Google tries to complete it for you. Right? What it does, if you type in, how do I, Google will pull up the 5 or 10 most frequently searched terms that begin with what you're saying, right? Well, guess what? There are tools, websites, such as ubersuggest.io, where it will take your queries, such as how do I, then go to Google, type in how do I and the letter A, and grab the results that come up. Then repeat it, how do I, letter B, and grab the results that come up. And go through the entire alphabet, spitting out hundreds of the most frequently searched phrases for anything you can type in. How do I do this? What do I need in order to? So in essence, it's that crystal ball telling you, here's the things people are most eager to know, to answer, to learn. Right? Another resource, reddit.com and quora.com. Quora.com is a website where people ask questions and experts answer it. Reddit is a forum that has hundreds of sub-forums around topics where people post information and ask questions. And on both of these sites, things people post are upvoted or downvoted. Right? You go to Quora, you see a question. If that's something that resonates with you, you click on the upvote, kind of like a Facebook like. If it doesn't, or you don't like the question, or it's a silly question, or you don't like the answer, you downvote it. So almost in an evolutionary process, the best, most urgent, most pressing ones float to the top. In essence, everything is asked, and the ones at the top of every category and subcategory got there because the most people are passionately interested in getting the answer. We can also ask people what they want. And momentarily, I'm going to show you what that looks like. There are forums for every conceivable topic online. I can go to a forum in any topic and actually ask, hey, what do you most wish you knew? What would you most be willing to pay to know, to learn, to understand? And by the way, don't worry about how we're going to produce or develop the information. I'm going to show you how to do that, even if you don't know anything about it. Can't write a lick, got you covered. We can do the same thing with groups. On Facebook, LinkedIn, there are groups for everything. Right? I can go to a particular topical group and say, excuse me, hey, what do you most wish you knew? What would you most want to answer? I could also ask people, right? I want to show you something. I put here under forums, thebiggestboards.com. I'm going to jump out of PowerPoint and over to my browser. Bear with me a moment. Show you something. I did an experiment last week. Okay, this is that website, thebiggestboards.com. They list the largest forums on the internet. I know it's very small print, it's hard to see, but if you could see these two columns of numbers, the first one is it's listing forums, and then number of members and number of posts. Right? These are forums with hundreds of thousands of members and millions of posts. So I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to go to one. Let me find it here. Here it is. Number 43. It's called Diaper Swappers. Right? It's a forum for new mothers who've just given birth, who are raising infants. Right? There are 153,000 members on that forum who have made 15 million posts. Now I'm going to go over there because I did an experiment. Go to Diaper Swappers forum. All right. Here's the Diaper Swappers forum. On this main board here, it shows that there are almost 250,000 threads with 2.5 million posts. So last week, I created an account, and I went on here. This is my account. It's Michelle because, you know, it's a forum about giving birth and raising kids and diapers. Anyway, I created an account, and I made one post. I'm going to scroll down to it. I know it's here somewhere. Here we go. This was my post. It says, what do you most wish you knew before your first was born? In essence, asking them what information is most important to you. If they tell me, then I know I can create or have created an info product based around that will sell. Well, guess what? I posted that I think it was last Tuesday or Wednesday at 6:47 in the afternoon. Not even 18 hours later, I got 8 serious, in-depth replies essentially telling me, hey, you know what? If you could come up with this information, it's so worthwhile to me. All I did was ask. Right? So they're telling me, what do they want to know? If I can turn that into an info product, some percentage of the 153,000 members will be willing to buy it. Okay, now hold that thought. So you have an idea how to come up with ideas. And by the way, some of us already have ideas, right, coming into this. We already came up with an idea. We've done market research, niche research. We have an idea. Remember, that's only the first part of the puzzle, right? Coming up with ideas that we know will work. Well, there's lots of ways to do it. I showed you a few. But what if you can't write, or you're not an expert? You don't know the topic. You don't. You're not an expert. You failed 6th grade writing, whatever the case. Remember I said develop the content, not write the content. So how do we develop content? Well, we could write it, right? Alternately, we can curate or acquire. And I'm going to show you ways to do this now that you'll be able to leave here with and produce killer info products under any topic, segment, market, idea, without having to be an expert, without having to write anything. Now, again, you could write if you're an expert or you have the background. Some of us want to write. One of the ways we can hasten and automate that process, make it more effective, I do a lot of writing, and I dictate what I'm writing. I use Dragon Naturally Speaking, which is a speech-to-text app that you can buy. I think street price is around $75. And I got news for you. It works like a charm. Just as I'm talking to you now on a headset, Dragon will turn that into near perfect in my word processor. And guess what? I've been using Dragon for years. The state of the app today is almost perfect. So all you have to do is talk, and it turns it into text. Alternately, you can go to Fiverr.com, and for very little money, somebody will take your audio file. You can record the audio and turn it into text, or go to idictate.com, and they give you an 800 phone number. A phone call, you pick up the phone, you start talking, and an hour later, they send you a word processing document. But again, a lot of us don't want to write, don't like to write. The two methods I'm about to show you, curating and acquiring, are how I make the vast majority of my info products and how most of us do that. Whoops. So let's look into that. Make sure this is, okay. Whoops. meant to go back one slide. Curating. What do we mean by curating? Curating is just taking other people's stuff and combining it. Not copying it, but stitching together other people's stuff. I'm going to show you how you can do that. We can curate or we can acquire. By acquire, I mean have it produced and getting it elsewhere. We can do that by outsourcing, by paying somebody to produce for us, or we can find content that's already written in the public domain or is otherwise licensed such that we're allowed to use it. I'm going to show you two examples. Now we're going to get into some actual stuff, and I'm going to show you how this works in real life. There we go. Okay. Hopefully the screen's advancing. Remember I said I'm going to show you two cool methods, really three. Here we go. Number one is the resource guide. Right? And I'm going to show you what I did and how that turned into a product, and you can take this and run with it. A while back, I think it was 2 years ago, I came across a term, Ayurveda. This says Ayurvedic diet. Came across the term Ayurveda. No idea what it was. I don't remember whether I was searching for something or reading a news site or some site online. I came across that term. Didn't know what it was, so I Googled it. Came across the Wikipedia entry. Ayurveda is an ancient Eastern practice of health, and it's a philosophy of health and wellness based around diet and dietary practice. Right? And when I Googled it, one of the things that came up, and I Googled it because I came across the term and didn't know what it was, right? And it piqued my interest. One of the things I came across, in fact, the number one listing, the two listings above it are ads, was a Dr. Oz episode on Ayurvedic diet. For those of you that are not in the U.S. or may not be familiar, Dr. Oz is a pop health talk show, right? It's daytime TV. He's kind of like the Oprah of health and wellness, right? He does a very popular show. Millions of people watch it, and he talks about health issues, right? He did an episode on the Ayurvedic diet. Now, what that tells me, just like the Oprah effect, if Dr. Oz is talking about it, it's about to trend really high, really rapidly. And I had caught it just as this was happening, and it occurred to me, wow, there's going to be a lot of people all of a sudden interested in this. I smell opportunity. So I started searching online for resources related to Ayurveda and Ayurvedic dieting. And I'm going to show you one of the things I did, if I can get there, which was curating. This is a website called ezinearticles.com. It's an article directory with millions of articles that people write and post that you are free to use for any purpose as long as you retain their byline, right? So people are writing these articles and you can use it for anything you want as long as you retain their byline. Well, if I type in Ayurveda, whoops, A-Y-U-R-V-D-A, okay, 1 to 25 of 4,000 articles, right? Ayurveda, holistic approach to healthcare, top tips, how does it work? Ayurveda dieting, Ayurveda recipes, etc. Diet according to Ayurveda, etc., etc. Right? I was able to go through here and curate, take 10 or 20 of the best articles, as well as a few dozen recipes, and turn it into the Ayurvedic Living Cookbook. I didn't write a stitch of it. I did an introduction and I wrote some filler in between, but it's basically articles that I curated and recipes that I found online that I pointed to. These were resources online that I simply assembled into an info product. Found some forums where people were talking about it, simply added it to my signature in my forum, and spent a couple hours each day for about 2 weeks getting involved in conversations about Ayurveda with people who are interested in it, had a link to this product I created, and sold about 3 a day for a couple of months. All in all, about 250 copies, right, at I think it was $17 each, right? So I made a couple of $1,000 selling this, and after 3 months of being able to show sales week over week, month over month, was able then to sell the whole thing, the little 3-page website I made around this ebook. The ebook itself sold the whole thing for I think around $8,000. All told, in about 90 days, made $12,000 simply by finding this term, checking it out, learning what it was, then going out and curating some content and assembling some resources. This is really just a resource guide of stuff I found online, but people who were interested in it were willing to pay. Let me show you another example. Ayurvedic Living Cookbook. Starving Writer's Guide to Paid Gigs. Guess what? There's a huge community of people who really want to be writers, but for various reasons, that's not what they do. They have a day job, they have a regular job. Either they don't think they write well enough or don't know where to go to get a writing job, don't believe they can actually get paid to write and need to pay the bills, so it's just a dream. Guess what? Spend an hour or two online searching, and you can find links to hundreds of websites that pay for writing, for reviews, for creative writing, for technical writing, for articles, for blog posts, right? Hundreds of places. So what I did was I took those links, those resources, put them together into a PDF titled Starving Writer's Guide to Paid Gigs, made a nice cover, and started frequenting the forums where wannabe writers, and there's lots of them. I mean, this is a community of a few million people who want to be writers and go to some of these, beginner writers forums, wannabe writers forums. Right? Well, if you're that guy or gal that really wanted to be a writer in life, but didn't know how to do it, didn't think they could get paid for it, and instead work at the phone company because they got 2 kids to raise, etc. Somebody comes along and says, hey, I've got a list of 100 places that will pay you to write. You don't have to be a professional, you don't have to have an agent, $25, $50, $100 an article or post or review, right? Here's a list of 100 of those, $19.95. Do you buy it? Guess what? A lot of them did, right? A lot of them did. Hundreds of them. Ultimate Home Office Guide to Free Resources. If you're a home office, a small business, right? Maybe a one-man show. Maybe you're a professional, an accountant or a lawyer, or you have a house painting company or a construction company or landscaping. You're the one guy, maybe a couple of guys. You work out of the office in your den or your spare bedroom, right? Your home office. Right? There's a lot of people. In fact, there's a term for that, SOHO, S-O-H-O, small office, home office. Right? It's a big category. A lot of people like that. Well, that guy, when he starts, or at some point, somebody's going to say, hey, I have something, a project for you, something for you to see. I need to fax it over. What's your fax number? Or, hey, can you fax me a quote? Well, this guy has 2 choices. He can go to Staples or Office Depot and spend $200 on a fax machine, or he can go to Kinko's and take an hour out of his day to fax something. But guess what? There's 24 sites online that offer free faxing services from your laptop, from your email. Similarly, a dozen services that will let you receive a fax for free and then turn it into an attachment and email it to you, all free, right? Similarly, when at the end of the year this guy has to somehow figure out how to do a 1099 for the two landscaping laborers that work for him, he's got a couple of choices. He can go out to Staples or Home Depot and buy QuickBooks for 99 bucks and then try to figure that out, or go to his accountant or hire one for 100 or 500 bucks. Or there's half a dozen websites online that offer free, easy, small business, one-man shop, home office accounting services. Same thing for payroll. Guess what? There's 36 places online where you can do automated online backup of your laptop or your home office computer for free. Now, I know that. Most of you know that. Most people do not know that. They don't know any of these things. So if you're that guy that now has to take an hour or two to go to Kinko's only once a month, but what a headache, or spend 200 bucks on a fax machine, and you see a posting, 200 free home office services that you don't have to pay for and you can get to from your laptop for $19.95, is it worth it? It's worth it just to save the time or the expense of one fax, let alone a dozen other things that sooner or later you're going to have to do or pay for or have somebody do. Enough so that thousands of people bought that guide. Right? You see where I'm going with this? This is what we call a resource guide. Just by looking up, using that crystal ball, seeing what are these people asking for, right? How did I come upon that? I happened to see how do I fax and used one of the Google auto-suggest scrapers and realized an enormous number of people are asking, how do I fax? How do I buy a fax machine? How do I get a fax to work? Can I do a fax online? Started pursuing that, found that there were a subset of these people, small office, home office people asking this question, along with a dozen similar questions. Opportunity, spent not more than 2 days, 3 days researching, put together something that was worth $10, $20, $50 to the guy who doesn't have an interest in researching on the internet. He just wants to run his company and is willing to pay for that information. Didn't even know it existed. Okay, that's the resource guide. Let me show you another similar method of producing info products. Call it the government public domain report. Watch this. Most of us remember back around 2008, 2009, the gas shortage, right? The oil shortage that resulted, excuse me, at least in the U.S., with crazily spiking gas prices, right? Went up to like $5 and more a gallon. Well, guess what? If you're living paycheck to paycheck and commute to work and have to fill up your car twice a month, that difference from up to $5 a gallon may mean an extra $30, $40, $50, $60 a month out of your pocket. For some of us, that might mean the difference between being able to take your kids out to a movie or not, right? Or being able to buy new shoes or not. It's a real pain point. And a lot of people had this pressing need what to do about this new cost that wasn't anticipated, wasn't figured on, and is just hurting. Right? Well, I was able to go online and find, in fact, you know what, I'm going to show you. I told you we're going to do things a little different here. let me find. There's a website. I know I had it up here. This is not it. Let's. I know it's somewhere, but I'm just going to type it in. Fueleconomy.gov. This is a federal government website. Now, the federal government, U.S. federal government, except in certain cases, can't own a copyright, right? The government is we the people, right? We, U.S. citizens, own the content of the federal government. And in fact, if you were to search, it'll tell you that this stuff is in the public domain. Again, there's some exceptions like classified information or things done by contractors, but most of it is in the public domain. This is a website called fueleconomy.gov that's part of the U.S. Department of Energy. On here, you may not be able to see it, is a fuel savings calculator, fuel economy toolkit, extreme MPG, how to get extreme better mileage, information about hybrid cars, right? All care of the federal government in the public domain, really high quality. So back in 2008, I got from the federal government vehicle fuel economy comparison reports, hybrid car buyer's guide, consumer fuel savings guide. By the way, these were beautifully produced and great information. And a downloadable gas price, gas savings calculator that let you do things like put in how much your tank holds and what the price of gas is near you and far away, and does it actually pay you to drive further to pay a little bit less, right? Put it together into something called the Ultimate Gas Saver Guide, right? Released it the end of 2008, right when these crazy gas prices and this oil shortage was peaking. I put together a little blog using the terms gas saver, gas savings guide, gas for less money, right? And these happen to be trending searches, so that blog shot to the top of Google. I think I was charging $37 for this package, which was just an information product. It was a few different components, some guides, software calculator app you downloaded, right? Sold hundreds and hundreds of them. 4 months in, sold the whole business, the little blog that I had made that was now getting tons of traffic because it was trending for the search terms, the product I had created, which was all public domain, but now I owned it and owned the rights to it, sold the whole kit and caboodle for, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, $18,000. Another $10,000 just selling the product. All in all, close to $30,000 just for putting together this information, for seeing the trend, you know, rubbing that crystal ball, what are people searching for, found that there was public domain content available, essentially just repackaged it, prettied it up, right, went through it. Now, you know, some people have an issue with public domain content. You shouldn't. It's there to use. I add value by assembling the information, making it accessible, picking and choosing, right? It's a valuable service, in essence, valuable enough that people are willing to pay for that information. Okay. So that little project netted me about $30,000. Okay, so talked about the resource guide, talked about government public domain report. I did the Ultimate Gas Saver Guide. Similarly, Guide to More Effective Homeschooling. A couple of years ago, I just, you know, being out and about on the internet, came across the notion of homeschooling. It caught my interest. I used some of these tools like Google Suggest Scraper, like visiting some forums and asking, and found that there was an enormous community of parents who were doing homeschooling, who were buying, selling, trading, comparing notes, information, lesson plans, content, tools, et cetera, et cetera. Well, guess what? U.S. federal government has an enormous amount of information on homeschooling. I was able to get lesson plans, content, tips, teaching aids, etc., along with reports that the federal government had issued on how effective homeschooling was, broken down by technique, by area of the country, by age of children, etc. Put that all together into something called Guide to More Effective Homeschooling. Guess what? Those parents who are really invested in and interested in homeschooling were really interested in that. But I knew that before going into it because I was able to look at things like the searches these people were making. One of the things we didn't go over, Google keyword tool. You can just type in Google keyword tool. Will show you how many times a month a given phrase is searched, right? How to homeschool my kids better, thousands of times a month. So rub that crystal ball. What I find out is these people want to know how to improve their homeschooling. I don't have to be an expert. I don't have to write the content. I was able to get it in the public domain, combine it, curate some pieces, outsource a nice cover graphic, put it together in a downloadable format, go on to some of these forums and groups, get involved in the conversation, let it be known by my signature on the bottom of my forum posts, or create a blog or a Facebook page and start visiting similar sites. You start generating traffic, make it known what you have. If you've done it right, if you've looked at what people are paying for and what they're asking to learn, then you already know the answer going in, didn't have to write a lick of it, made a ton of money. Similarly, heart-healthy meals that are easy and taste good. I remember my father had 3 heart attacks, and I remember one of the issues, my mother would try to cater to my dad's condition. Historically, she made a lot of, how shall we say, not so heart-healthy foods. That's what we grew up on. By the 3rd heart attack, my mother was a convert and now would only make things that the doctor told her my dad could eat. And invariably, they were off, right? They didn't taste good. They weren't fun. They weren't familiar. Right? Well, that's a pretty common scenario. How do I know that? Because I Googled it. I used some of these tools, that crystal ball, to find out that a lot of people are asking that question. In fact, you can go to Amazon and drill down on bestsellers under cooking, and one of the topics is how to make heart-healthy meals. Right? I mean, bestsellers with thousands of reviews. That tells me a lot of people are paying for that information. Well, guess what? The federal government, care of Health and Human Services, and in fact, you know what? Let me show you. I promised you this would be worthwhile, right? ChooseMyPlate.gov is a federal government site that has tons of information that's in the public domain that you can use. Let me go backwards one and see if I could find, yeah, there we go. Okay. This is healthy eating from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. Right? It's all about healthy eating. Right here, they have something, the Deliciously Healthy Meals Cookbook, whoops, wrong one, right above it. Deliciously Healthy Dinners, right, contains 75 recipes influenced by Asian, Latino, Mediterranean, and American cuisine that are good for your heart. This is it. I pulled it up, right? This is a beautiful cookbook. It's done beautifully. It's got great pictures, great instructions. It's like, you know, of a quality, the best cookbook you could buy. I'm allowed to take this, slap my name on it, and resell it. And if I don't feel good about doing that, right, I can simply take this and add value by maybe curating some articles on heart-healthy living. Go back to this site, ezinearticles.com. And I'm going to type in heart healthy, and let's see what comes up. 87,000 articles that mention or talk about heart health. 25 top heart-healthy foods, heart-healthy tips for women, 5 heart-healthy foods. And I didn't do this in advance, by the way. I didn't realize there were that many. Right? So if I don't want to just take this and turn around, whoops, where'd it go, and sell it as is, I can add value by combining it with some other relevant information, and bang, which is what I did, have my heart-healthy meals that are easy and taste good. I already know it'll sell. I didn't have to write a word of it. I could build a business like this. In fact, I could tell you off the top of my head 24 people that I know that do what I do that have built 7 and even 8-figure businesses just on the basis of this exact business model, looking at researching burning questions, pressing needs, urgent problems, finding the information or resources, putting it together into one package, and offering it for sale. And I could build on this. Heart-healthy meals that are easy and taste good. And again, let's say I don't want to sell that public domain cookbook as is. I could use that as opt-in bait, right? Create an email list by creating my heart-healthy blog and having a form, hey, let me send you this great National Institutes of Health heart-healthy cookbook for nothing. Just give me your name and email. And bang, I'm building an email list. I can now offer additional products, affiliate products, new products that I create a membership, subscription service, etc. Okay. We're way past time. We're going to wrap it up here, but now I'm going to offer you something truly life-changing. Whoops. Oh, and by the way, one of the things, government PD report, as someone who spent such time working with public domain, I do a lot of research and development with public domain. I decided to put that into a resource guide called Public Domain Treasures. It's a current product of mine. It sells every single day, and I'm going to give this to you. It's a guide that lists a bunch of public domain resources, sites you can go to, a bunch of things you can do with public domain, some do's and don'ts, tips. It's a really handy, worthwhile guide for accessing content that you're entitled to use for any purpose, including commercially, right, that I've put together for you. It's a resource guide. It's a currently selling product. It's yours. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to give you the link. You can download that for free, gratis, as thanks for sticking around. Okay, we're going to fast forward real quick. So you get a sense of what the information products business is, how lucrative it is, and really some of the nuts and bolts mechanics of how you can turn that into actionable steps that can generate an income, right? Suppose I could guarantee that this would work for you. And I don't mean guarantee like I'll give you your money back. I mean guarantee like if you make the effort, it will absolutely positively work for you. Suppose I were to lay out all of the tactics, strategies, methods, resources that we've learned, trial and error, optimized, refined over the years, gave you a step-by-step to follow from the very beginning all the way through every step of the way, gave you how-tos for each step and method so that it was explained to you, and worked with you directly, one-on-one, to make sure you understood what to do and how to do it, and I walked you through the process, right? That's the only way I could guarantee your success, right, is to show you what I know works and then work with you directly one-on-one. That's really the only way I could guarantee it would work for you. Well, guess what? We have all of that, step-by-step instruction, resources, ongoing training, personal help and support, Biz Academy. It's a course that I put together that goes through all of these things. But hold that thought, because it's going to get a little crazy, really good. I promise you life-changing. Get ready for it. Okay, Biz Academy is a complete online course. 9 modules of video instruction, downloads. It's all like this, you know, PowerPoint presentations and video demonstrations, all done by me. Materials, resources, case studies, tactics, methods, shortcuts, etc., the whole 9 yards. And every week we do, or almost every week, we do live training, a session like this, but we go over a new tactic, a new tool, a new method, a new product. So in essence, you get to watch over my shoulder while learning how to do something, how to do something else, how to overcome an obstacle, new tools as they make themselves available, etc. We have a private Facebook mastermind group. The online course is 9 modules. I'm just going to zip through this because basically it's how to create, grow, scale, and succeed with an info products business. Right? Tons of resources. It's a really good course. Right? Come on. The course includes ongoing live training, almost weekly sessions, most weeks. Archives of all those sessions that you can get to, so all the past ones, and can rewatch any of the training sessions. That's in addition to the base modules. Private Facebook group where we share tactics, strategies. You can ask questions and get answers. Review and critique products that you put together. Share victories, share failures. We learn a lot from those as well. There's a lot of these courses out there. In fact, 3 days ago, it was the day before the Thursday crash, so I guess Wednesday. A guy named Eben Pagan knows what he's doing, one of the big players in the industry, put together a course, but it's virtually identical, right? Goes over the same stuff. He's one of the few guys that's actually done what he teaches. I'm one of those guys. His course was $19.95, $1,995, and there was no ongoing live training component, right? That's just what they sell for. So I decided to price this at less than half the lowest price for comparable courses. All of that is just $495 plus $37 a month for the ongoing training. But of course, you guys are here. We made a big deal of this, so Shazam. This is the offer I'm making to you for being on this webinar. Lifetime membership, the entire package, no ongoing monthly. You get the training, but you don't have to pay for it. $199. It's a fraction of comparable courses. And I got to say, even if we did nothing else but did that live weekly training, you, in essence, between that and the Facebook group, you get ongoing training and review that doesn't end. You don't go through it and then you're done and good luck, hope it works for you. This is ongoing. So this one-time, one-shot offer, it's guaranteed 60 days, meaning anytime within 60 days, we sell those through ClickBank, anytime within 60 days, you click a button on your receipt and you automatically get refunded. I don't have to approve it. You don't have to ask for it. You can do it right from your PC. Just click on the receipt, ask for a refund. So 60 days, zero risk, get 100%. But wait, it gets better. Remember I told you this would be life-changing? Well, and hold me to it. Well, of course, I think all this is life-changing, but here we're going to get to the real life-changing part, and this is it. Remember I said, what if I could guarantee your success? The only way to do that would be to work with you directly. So very limited. I can only do a few of these. If you jump on this offer today only, you get me. Unlimited direct one-on-one coaching. I used to do coaching and training, $200 an hour, $2,000 retainer, 10-hour minimum. I don't do it anymore because it's time-consuming, can't do a lot of it. It's not where I make most of my money. Right? In other words, you couldn't buy this. What you're getting for that ridiculous $199 course offer, in addition to that, I will work with you directly, one-on-one, as much as necessary for as long as necessary for you to succeed. So this is a business model that works, right? You've tried things, you've thought of things. Here's one that works. I'll show you how to do this yourself through the course, and on top of that, I become your personal coach via Skype or phone, one-on-one, me, not somebody else, not outsourced. I will work with you directly. Now, obviously, I can only do this for a very small number of people because there's only so many hours in the day. So this is only for those people on the call, and it expires today. So at midnight, that's gone. You'll still be able to get the $199 offer. That I'm going to hold open for 48 hours because, you know, we had that earlier call and it crashed, and it was meant to be held over until Friday night. So $199 offer for the course, which is phenomenal. It's ridiculous, right? Trust me, it's ridiculous. If you knew what was in there, if you're serious about finally realizing that internet lifestyle dream, this is the way to get there. It works. It's proven. I will show you how to do it. You get all that for $199. If you jump on it today only, in addition to all of that, you get me as your personal one-on-one coach for as long and as far as you need. So how do you get that? Come on. Okay. Infobizacademy.net. Don't go to the main page, infobizacademy.net, because you'll pay $495 and then get billed $37 a month. If you go to infobizacademy.net/yes, and I'm going to type this into the chat box. If you go to the link, just for the next few hours, you'll get the course, lifetime membership, no monthly fees for the ongoing training, and me as your personal one-on-one coach, whole thing $199. That will go away tonight. You'll have until Wednesday to still be able to get the course at the ridiculous $199 price. At that point, it then goes back up to $495 plus $37 a month, which is still a ridiculously low price for what it is. This is essentially a roadmap to get to where you want to get either that supplemental income, replace that job, retirement money, any of those things. It's just the degree to which you want to do it. This stuff works. We know how to do it. We show you how to do it. And if you jump on this today, I will personally work with you to make it work for you. One other thing, I know we're running late, one other thing I wanted to make sure you had, which was, whoops, sorry, now I'm flying through this, the link for public domain treasures, which I told you I'm going to give to you, so I'm going to put that link here, whoops, in the chat box as well. infobizacademy.net, whoops, /pdt.zip. If you go infobizacademy.net, there you go, that's in the chat box. If you go to that link, you can download gratis the most recent version of Public Domain Treasures as my gift to you just for sticking around. Look, I know we're late. I know it's been an ordeal between taking the time, scheduling it on Thursday and doing what you had to do to be there and then getting booted off and then actually coming back a second time. I'm really grateful. I really appreciate your time. I hope you feel it was worthwhile, that your time and your graciousness was not taken advantage of. I hope that you got something worthwhile out of it. Of course, I'd love for you to take advantage of the course, but even if you don't, I hope you leave here feeling like it was time well spent, that it was worth taking the time, that you got some useful, actionable info out of it. So normally I would open it for questions, but since we're already running late, there are a couple of questions I'll try to get to quick. Sharon asked, do you write under your own name or a pen name? I do both. If not under your own name, why not? In part because if somebody Googles you, you don't want to be the author of, heart health expertise and homeschooling expertise and something else expertise, because it looks like you're not expert in anything. Sometimes I'll create a name that is just easier to sound or pronounce, or a more generic name, but on some things I do use my own name. Couple other questions. This offer good presentation though. Thank you. I hope you found it worthwhile. I really, more than anything, I strive to make sure that you leave here feeling like you actually, that it was actually time worth spending, and that you don't feel I wasted your time. Because I know how much I hate that. I hope you leave here feeling it was time well spent. So thank you everybody. Once again, if you go to infobizacademy.net/yes, you have a couple of hours, and then it's closed up, because again, I can only commit to one-on-one training for a very, very small number of people, because I only have so many hours in the day. But $199, you get the whole kit and caboodle. Either way, if you grab it before midnight tonight, it'll include coaching. Even if you grab it afterwards, $199 is a bargain. You're getting a full-on course, plus weekly live training, plus the Facebook group, and we will do everything we can to make sure you reach whatever level or degree of success you want. So thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time. I hope that was worthwhile. Janice is asking, is that Monday Pacific time? That's Eastern time, which is my time, so it'll be midnight my time, which I believe would be 8 o'clock, no, it would be 9 o'clock Pacific time. So you've got, let's see, about 10 hours. Thank you again, everybody. Last thing I'd like to say is just that again. Thanks for your time. Have a wonderful rest of your day. On that note, I'm going to end the recording and end the webinar. Take care, everybody.